I'm Tracey Walker, and I'm going to share another chapter of my book, The Cards I Was Dealt That Transformed My Life. And today's chapter will be chapter 25. The impact of the system on me and my worldview. From that day, my life had changed. I wasn't coping at all. I was constantly on edge and the tears wouldn't stop flowing. I was broken. The students and administration had torn down my spirit. What was I to do now? I felt isolated and alone. I spoke to a friend. Apply for work cover, she said. We talked some more about what that might look like, and she encouraged me to start the process. I'd been through this process once before. A student had gone to walk out of the room, and I put my hand up to stop her. She pushed it out of the way quite forcefully, and my hand hit the corner of the wall. With my hand swelled up like a balloon, I wasn't able to write on the board, so they put me onto compo, work cover, while it mended. This time, however, was very, very different and much more harmful to me. The system had a process for mental health issues that necessitated going to a counsellor or psychologist, one they'd chosen. This just added to my stress. There were no alternatives. You have to do what the system says. While relief teaching, I'd also been doing extra study, something I'd done many times. My last lot of training was to become a marriage celebrant. This time, I was in the process of becoming a life coach. I'd wanted to take all my learnings from my life and use them to help and support people to recognise that there is a different way of achieving your goals and becoming self-aware. I was highly tuned in to my own feelings and my emotions. As it turned out, I started using my training to support myself through what I was dealing with. However, when I was forced, and I do say forced, into receiving counselling, I found the two were totally in conflict. These counselling sessions were causing me more trauma. I began finding it difficult to even see a student, let alone stand in front of a class. I didn't want to leave the house for fear I'd be personally attacked by students. It didn't even have to be the student in school. It was any young person I came across. I couldn't even go for a walk. What if I came across a student? I'd been through so much, but this was unlike anything I'd ever experienced. One time I was waiting in line for something and spotted some students. I was fine 1 minute, and the next my heart was racing. It was like I was about to faint, like everything was closing in on me. I lost all control of my thoughts as they buzzed and spun and screamed in my head. I had the weirdest feeling that I was locked in a room, just me and the students. I was their target and they were going to get me. I couldn't run, I couldn't hide, I couldn't escape. Somehow, I didn't know how, I made it back to my car. Then I sat there, locked in the car in the middle of the car park, as my emotions hammered me into a state of overwhelm. How I drove home, which way I went, and how long it took me, I have no idea. It wasn't until later that I found out it was a panic attack. I'd never experienced that before, and it wasn't nice. Nobody, least of all my doctor, had ever explained that this sort of thing could have happened. I honestly felt like I was totally losing my shit, like I'd gone crazy. When I told my doctor what had happened, he handed me a name of some book. "Read this," he said. That was it. The system not only doesn't help people, it hinders them to get well. It got worse. A session with the EFT practitioner helped me to understand what was happening to my body when I had a panic attack, the chemical reaction that was going on, and what to do to calm my nervous system. But due to work cover not acknowledging EFT as a viable modality, I had to pay for it myself. Ultimately, though, I was forced to continue with the approved counsellor. This sent me reeling back into my trauma. After every session, I'd be down for days, totally out of it, was unable to be productive or to function in a normal world. Soon after, I decided that I'd only go to the shops early in the morning so I wouldn't bump into any students. I also stopped doing my regular walks, particularly at times when I knew I'd see students catching the bus or on their bikes going to school. It changed my life, or rather, I had to change my life to accommodate all of this. Imagine for a moment how debilitating it would be to not be able to walk down your street because some kids were playing there. Imagine having to rearrange your day and only go out when school was in session. Imagine having having no choice but to walk back into a building where your trauma started to hand in some essential paperwork. Imagine arriving early before the students were in class, being so scared to go in or even wait in the car park. So instead, driving to the local shopping centre to wait. Imagine a car pulling up beside you with students sitting in the back seat and feeling compelled to scrunch down into the seat and pretend you were reading or retrieving something from the floor. This was me. This was every area of my life. The issue was that I was on this seesaw of a system not open to helping people. A system that puts everyone in the same box and believes one solution works for all. I was proof that it didn't. Returning home after a session from the counsellor, I'd feel so much worse, not better. For days, I'd be down and out, unable to do anything. The counsellor wasn't helping. That much was so clear to me. But nobody else saw it that way, so I had to keep going. Focusing on my studies became essential. This was the only thing that enabled me to see it would be possible to drag myself out of this black hole that the counselling sessions created. The understanding and support I received from this lady, the EFT practitioner, was wonderful. Tapping was a way to clear negative energy in my body first, and then to tap into all the things that had been happening to me in the past. It allowed me to release the hurt, the disappointment, losing of a job I'd loved for 20 years, which had been taken away due to a school system that does not deal with situations. Now I had the tools I could use at home when I became overwhelmed. I began to see I had choices other than teaching, and tapping helped me deal with the times I did go out and happen to see students. To me, it seemed ridiculous that I was forced down this path, but I knew it was up to me to change my mindset and accept I had to do this process for work cover. I changed the way I looked at it, and because I had to survive this process, it was required and was not going to change, so I refocused. I put a lot of my time into my studies while my head was in a good space, and accepted that I would be in an extremely emotional state after a session with a counsellor. This gave me the energy to pursue a new direction for my career path. My love of teaching was everything to me, and I didn't want to give that up. But I knew I couldn't be in a classroom anymore. Instead, I realised that my teaching path was to teach people how to take control of their lives over and above their circumstances. I refused to allow the system to keep me stuck. My intuition served me well. I trust in that today. On reflecting of this time, the things I did to survive were extreme. A voice in my head mocked, "Adults don't act like that." But they do. The way I was treated led to this behaviour. I trusted the system. I was disappointed and let down. Now I take the learnings from every area of my life, including this one, and turn them into a positive to help my clients. I love my job. In hindsight, I can look at what happened and think, if that didn't happen, I'd probably be still stuck in a system that doesn't support students and staff to do things in a different way. As a life mastery consultant and now an advanced EFT practitioner and matrix re-imprinting practitioner with over 30 years of life experiencing, changing my outcomes for the better, I feel I can bring a unique element to my clients. The fear that would rise up every time I saw a student shocked me. But until you've experienced it, you truly don't understand how it is for someone else. I'm grateful I can have empathy for my clients because I've lived it. And I've overcome it through alternate modalities, not mainstream ones. And I'll leave you with this thought. Character cannot be developed in ease and quiet. Only through experience of trial and suffering can the soul be strengthened, ambition inspired, and success achieved. Helen Keller.